and welcome to another Halloween horror movie review. Today we'll be taking a look at another cult favorite selection from the Scream Factory library. Based on the works of H.P. Lovecraft, we have From Beyond. Today on the Multimedia Chronicles. Welcome back. From Beyond. Ooh. This is a very strange film, to say the least. Now, this was done, directed by Stuart Gordon and starring Jeffrey Combs, both straight off of Reanimator. Jeffrey Combs was a hot property at the time with the cult horror stuff, and yeah, so they just snagged him up for the lead role here for yet another crack at some of the demented works of H.P. Lovecraft. So, I'm not sure off the top of my head which specific story this is based on. Maybe it's just one called From Beyond. I do apologize, I'm not overly familiar with the literary works of H.P. Lovecraft. I've read a few of the short stories, but and seen a few other adaptations, but that's about it. Oh, adapted from H.P. Lovecraft's From Beyond. There we go. That answers that question. Yeah, so essentially this is kind of a modernized version of the story. We have a couple of scientists who are looking to penetrate parallel dimensions, essentially. So they created this machine that stimulates the pineal gland, you know, the third eye, essentially, and allows them to see into a dimension that exists parallel to ours, so within the same space but out of phase. So normally you can't see them or interact with them, but when this machine is active, it essentially tears down the barrier so that the two are able to interact with each other, and it becomes very important, the ability to be able to turn the machine off to close that gateway becomes a pretty significant plot point. So yeah, so it's basically about, you know, ripping open the fabric of space and time to access this parallel reality. And it turns out that this particular parallel reality that they've tapped into isn't particularly friendly. There's like weird creatures in there that attack you and bite your head off and stuff like that. All kinds of fun stuff, you know. Yeah, so basically what happens in the very opening, I mean, it wastes no time getting things moving. I mean, right from the opening scene, the stage is set. I mean, it does not waste any time at all with pointless narrative or whatever. Basically starts off in the lab. Jeffrey Combs is firing up the machine. It opens up another dimension, or it opens up this parallel dimension, and he runs off to tell his other scientist buddy, oh my god, the machine works. We can see there's creatures there and stuff, and the other guy's just like, oh wow, cool. So they go down and check it out, and something attacks the other scientist and kills him, basically. One of the great lines in the movie is, there's going to be a few spoilers in here, by the way, if you haven't seen it. Just going to say right off the bat before I get too far into it. One of the great lines of the movie is Jeffrey Combs describing to someone what happened to his scientist friend, and said, yes, this thing came out of the parallel reality and bit his head off like a gingerbread man. And his delivery of that line is just, it has so much weight to it. I mean, it's beautiful. I love Jeffrey Combs. It's such a great actor. But so what ends up happening is, yes, the scientist dude was killed in our dimension. However, he exists in the parallel reality. He was able to cross over, to slip into the other dimension. And in that other dimension, he has become this twisted freak of himself. Basically just this fleshy, gooey, mass of flesh and goo. Kind of like something right out of The Thing, actually. So he still has this human face, but behind it is just this massive fleshy creature with arms and stuff, and it's just really weird. So what ends up happening is he essentially attacks Jeffrey Combs' character and awakens his pineal gland. So then Jeffrey Combs is able to see what he sees, and even when the machine isn't active, he's at least able to see the other reality and stuff like that. And then for some reason, when Jeffrey Combs' character is in this awakened state, he kind of goes, this little worm thing comes out of his brain, basically like it's his pineal gland, but like manifest as as Jeffrey Combs himself puts it, as a dog penis. And that's basically what it looks like, coming out of his head. And it kind of puts him into this trance-like state where he suddenly develops a taste for brains. Yes, there's a lot of brain eating in this. One of my favorite moments is when he first acquires this taste for brains. He's in a psychiatric hospital undergoing evaluation and seeing if they can help him. And he finds his way into, I guess, this cold storage for body parts, and is just chowing down on some fresh brain. And this psychiatric doctor comes in who's helping him and says, "Oh, don't eat that. It'll make you sick." And he's like, "Oh, delicious!" And he's just chowing down. And so then he attacks her, and he's in like this trance-like state, and he just like goes like, "Argh!" and like clamps his mouth over her left eyeball, and sucks with all of his force, and sucks her eyeball out of its socket. He spits it onto the floor, and then proceeds to suck her brain out through her eye socket. And you see her like getting dumber as he's like sucking her brains out. And and prior to that, he had like infrared vision, whereas like he was eating the brain, and then he looked up and he could see through infrared, he could see her brain. It was like, oh, like fresh brain. This is just a twisted, weird, fucked up movie, and I had a blast with it. Actually, it was weird in all the right kind of ways. I have to say also, it was very fast-paced. Like, as I say, it doesn't waste any time getting into the action, like, right from the opening scene. Like, before the opening title, even, it's into the action, into the main story, and it just gets right down to business, which is fantastic. You don't see that very often. And there's no hiding the creatures or anything like that. You see the creatures. Like, the creatures are there right off the bat. The doctor who goes crazy and mutates in the other dimension, he's right there right off the bat, wanting to, basically fleshy, goopily fuck the other guy's girlfriend into oblivion. and I don't know, have his other dimensional way with her. I should mention also, this also has Ken Foree in it from Dawn of the Dead. Yes, go Ken Foree. So it's great to see him in something other than a zombie movie. And he plays quite a fun character in this, who apparently has a thing for Cajun cooking. And I appear to have a fluff. Oh, it's a bit of the spiderweb stuff that I use for decoration. I think that's been on my arm for about 6 videos now. Sorry if that's been annoying any of you OCD viewers out there. I did catch it in the mirror when I took a bathroom break between shooting videos, and meant to pluck it off, but thought I should at least do you the service of plucking it off on camera so that you would see the removal of the fluff. That's a suitably weird thing to be doing, actually, while I'm reviewing From Beyond. Yeah, so overall, I really enjoyed it. I mean, some of the creature effects are pretty cool. Jeffrey Combs, always a delight. Love him in pretty much everything I've ever seen him in. Even he had a bit part in a, well, not really a bit part, but like a guest part on an episode of Babylon 5 where he played this psychic character, and he was very endearing in that. One I actually really liked him in was one called Dr. Mordred, was where Stuart Gordon wanted to do a Doctor Strange movie but couldn't get the rights, so he did a Doctor Strange-esque movie. Like, if you watch Dr. Mordred, it's fucking Doctor Strange. Like, there's no question about it. It is a Doctor Strange movie under another name. And Jeffrey Combs was the main character in that, and I actually really liked him in the main role there. So down to the Blu-ray itself, we have quite a selection of extras, and guess what? Surprise, surprise! One of the big significant extras on this is not mentioned on the packaging. Let's go to that, shall we? So first up, we have special features. We got audio commentary by director Stuart Gordon and the cast. I've not listened to that yet. I should do that. New interviews with Barbara Crampton, the director's perspective featurette, the editing room Lost and Found featurette, interview with composer Richard Band, photo gallery, storyboard to film comparisons with introduction, and more. You know what one of the and more thing is? It's like a 25-minute long interview with Jeffrey Combs. Because, you know, that's not significant. That's not something you want to mention on the packaging. That's not something that your target audience will consider a make-or-break purchase feature. Like, this is getting to be a trend here, guys. Come on. How are you not mentioning your most significant fan-wettening extras on your packaging? Like, seriously, Scream Factory, get your shit together. You were missing out big time. Like, The Burning, for example, The Burning, you had a huge interview with Tom Savini mentioned nowhere on the packaging. In fact, he didn't even mention, I don't think, on there anywhere that Tom Savini was even peripherally involved with the film. Let me just take a look here real quick, shall we? The Burning. Does it at least say features effects by Tom Savini somewhere on the packaging? Starring Brian Matthews. No, it actually, yeah, it doesn't mention Tom Savini anywhere on the packaging, not even peripherally as having any involvement on the film. Now, if you skim through the fine print of the credits, you can find him in there, special makeup and effects by Tom Savini. But unless you're looking for that, you're not going to see it. And it's like, that's a huge selling point. Like, I'm sure I'm not alone in saying that I may have passed over this one, not knowing that. Now, I picked it up basically because I was just collecting all the Scream Factory stuff, and I'd heard that this one was good. I didn't know why, I just heard it was good, so I took it at face value and bought it. But if it had said prominently somewhere on the packaging featuring special makeup and gore effects by Tom Savini, by horror legend Tom Savini, by makeup effects pioneer Tom Savini, that's a fucking system seller right there, folks. That is what makes or breaks a title like this. People may not know a lot about it. You put that on the packaging, people are more inclined to impulse buy it. You are seriously misrepresenting your product by not showcasing your extras more. You have great extras. Tell people about them. You know? That's all you gotta do. Tell people about them, you're gonna sell more. Seriously. People looking at this, they're gonna look at the packaging, it's like, oh, what the fuck, there's nothing here with Jeffrey Combs. Yeah, I like the movie, but, you know, if they're not at least gonna interview Jeffrey Combs, why should I bother? Like, come on. Seriously. That is a significant extra that you have not shown on the packaging. Anyway, carrying on. This is the collector's edition, of course, and I was lucky enough to get the slipcover. So the slipcover, of course, has the new artwork on it. You can see on the back there, you can see Jeffrey there with his kind of brain-eating trance state. And then there's the original artwork, poster art there, which I remember seeing this around. I had no idea what it was about, but I remember this cover. I didn't think this was the greatest cover, to be honest. This is way more striking, I think. But, again, some slightly different pictures on the back there. I'm getting more and more ranty about these Scream Factory releases, not including everything. But last thing I wanted to say was just regarding the pacing. I got kind of sidetracked there, but this moves along at such a good clip. It's about a 90-minute film. What is it? 80-something, 86 minutes? 86 minutes, yeah. This is an 86-minute movie. It did not feel like 86 minutes. I mean, that's not very long anyway, but it did not feel like as long as it was. I mean, it just kind of, it moves along at a really fast pace and holds your interest and just keeps you going. And the 86 minutes was up, and I didn't feel like, I was like, wow, it's over already? Like, it didn't feel like that long at all. It just kind of blew through it so fast, and, you know, was you know, just boom, 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 one beat to the next, and yeah, good stuff. You know you're into a movie when you just don't notice the running time at all. So yeah, I mean, this is a wild and crazy, fun movie. Don't expect anything too serious. It's definitely got a bit of tongue-in-cheek, dark humor aspects to it that I certainly enjoyed. And if you enjoy, you know, the other works of Stuart Gordon, like, you know, Reanimator being a big one, of course, and you know, Jeffrey Combs as a, you know, horror actor and whatnot, then I'm sure you'll enjoy this movie immensely. Alrighty, that is it from me to you for now. So until next time, thanks for watching, and sayonara.